What's up, everybody? James Jackson here. I'm back again. Want to apologize. I haven't really put out a vlog video in quite some time, and that's simply because for a couple reasons. One, I've been busy with a paid commercial gig, been finishing up the edits for that, and then also I came down like the past couple of weeks with some cold. First it started with just a minor cold, then my wife gave me the flu. So I've been dealing with illnesses for the last couple days. So, but I'm back. I'm still recovering a bit. So if you hear me sort of be a little scroggy or you see me trying to choke and about to keel over, you will understand why. But I could not wait because apparently Blackmagic couldn't wait. We're once again talking about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K and the bombshell that Blackmagic dropped yesterday, and that is Blackmagic Raw is finally in the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. I'm gonna be honest, this was a lot earlier than I anticipated. I've been thinking they would announce this at NAB. That seemed like the good time, but this seems to be a little bit over a month earlier than what I anticipated, which I am not complaining whatsoever regardless. This has probably been my most, and a lot of people actually, honestly, the most anticipated update. Some tests I released a couple of the clips that I've done yesterday on my channel, so make sure to check that out. But today I just want to sort of give my first impressions of Blackmagic Raw in the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. I'm going to go into the good and I'm going to go into some things not so good. I want to start off with the bad, and we really can't go off on bad without talking about the 800-pound gorilla in the room that sort of sparked this huge arguments over the web, which as I turn this on, you will see right here that Cinema DNG is no longer in the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K when you update to the new firmware. So Blackmagic states there's legal issues that they can't use it. I have some questions about that statement, but that is for a different video. I'm just saying that there's some things that don't seem to add up, but again, that's for a different video. I'm gonna definitely talk about that in another video. But yeah, Cinema DNG is not gone, and me personally, I am disappointed that Cinema DNG is gone based on my initial testings, but this is nothing new. All the testings before it pretty much confirmed exactly what I was saying, and that is the simple fact that Cinema DNG is sharper than Blackmagic Raw. However, it's not noticeably sharper. It's there. If you really look at it, you'll notice it. But overall, it's like saying Usain Bolt is faster than Deion Sanders in his prime time in a 400-millimeter run. True, but it doesn't mean that both are not great. Just because one is better than the other does not necessarily mean that the other is horrible. This codec is still light years better than majority of the codecs out there, especially codecs from cameras that are even around its price point. It's still miles ahead of all of them. Where it is noticeable of a loss is actually in post-production. And this is not necessarily anything wrong with the codec and the camera itself. This is more to do with the current state of DaVinci Resolve. And that is the fact that Blackmagic Raw right now is just nowhere near as flexible as Cinema DNG was in post. But it's something I got to get used to. And I just think that that's just more on Resolve side. It's not necessarily with the codec, because this is a brand new codec. So for me at least, it's sort of, it's way different than what I was working with in DaVinci Resolve. Now I know a lot of people say it's a lot easier to work with and it's much smoother. I personally don't notice the speed difference in Resolve, but then again, I'm working on a gaming laptop, so it can actually handle RAW files with ease. I always could play Blackmagic RAW files without issue in DaVinci Resolve, and I was able to just handle it 12 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. I did lossless. I never lossless was a little bit trouble, but that's about it. But 3-to-1, 4-to-1, I could play it back smoothly in Resolve. And this next one is, again, has nothing to do with Blackmagic Raw itself. It has more to do with DaVinci Resolve and needing a firmware update. And that is the simple fact that the Sidekick update is not currently working for the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Again, I'm pretty sure Blackmagic will update that and they will put that out and it will start working perfectly. But right now it's not working, and that is a real bummer for me because that is probably the second most anticipated thing I was looking forward to because the potential of what that just simply means. But let's go into the good because there is a lot of good things about this camera. First of all, like I said, as I mentioned, it's not as good as Cinema DNG, but it is damn close. And when you have something damn close as good as lossless Cinema DNG, but you can now write it 12 gig files to a SanDisk Pro SD card, how do you even beat that? That is the big thing about this, and that is the media files that you can do on this camera. So with constant bitrate 12:1, 4K Cinema DNG at 24 frames per second, I can shoot on a 512 Angelbird CFast 2.0 card 313 minutes of 12-bit RAW. With Q5, because it's a variable bit rate, I was seeing potential of doing over 500 minutes of 12-bit DCI 4K files at 24 frames per second. In 60p DCI 4K, I'm shooting over 120 minutes. So that's over 2 hours in 4K 60 in 512 gigabyte CFast card. I know that seems pretty expensive. This is an expensive format, but also keep in mind you can get a Samsung T5 for pretty much the same speed at a significant lower cost, and you'll get just about the same amount of space. This is revolutionary. We are literally talking about a full day's worth of recording potential, just non-stop recording for an entire day. This is the update and one of the things that I've been sorely waiting for, simply because the fact that, just imagine the opportunities that you can do with it. You can film an entire wedding from preparation all the way to the reception in RAW with the ability to just change your metadata right out of the gate and not have to switch cards if you have enough space. That is amazing. And that cannot be understated enough. It's the flexibility that you have with this camera in terms of shooting parameters. I know a lot of people are interested in 12:1. 12:1 just seems a bit too soft for my liking in terms of RAW. It's a little bit too soft. It's still, it's more like, I'll put it this way, it's more like ProRes. I would say treat it like ProRes Lite. It's very similar to ProRes Lite in that regards. So I would use it if you're definitely in nice lit situations. It's definitely in control environments, it will work perfectly fine. However, with things where there's a lot more variables, I wouldn't necessarily trust it, at least in terms of if you're doing, you got a serious budget with it. I would not necessarily go with it. I would say go with 8:1. But the one I would definitely, I'm probably even going to use even more so than 12:1 is Q0 and Q5. Q5 is freaking amazing because even though, like I said, you get over 300 minutes in 12:1, you get, if you set the scene right, especially if you're doing stuff like sit-down interviews, you're talking almost 500 minutes worth of data on a 512 gigabyte card. So that has a lot of potential, and I just personally feel like this is a complete game changer. So yeah, media space is a definite big deal, and definitely something to look and consider. The quality you're getting out of this is stunning. It's amazing. Image quality is still there. Like I said, I think right now it's just Blackmagic just needs to work on Resolve and really making it more robust and giving us as much flexibility in Resolve to work with this as possible. If they can do that, I think they got a game winner. Like everybody else right now, again, first thoughts, this is not a review, but initial thoughts, every other camera company should be concerned with Blackmagic for what they can do right now with this RAW codec, for what you can do, regardless if you feel this is actual RAW or not. There's some areas that this may not even, you may not get a pass, and I get that. But for so many shooting environments, and right now, I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, take care.